Now, with the whole race and what was going on, when did you realize, I mean, you got in the accident with McCreadie, when did you realize everything had pretty much gone, to junk?
Well, I mean, the minute we hit, me and Pat, actually, Ward got together, and I didn't really, it was hard to see, I didn't realize what was happening, but I was getting where I could roll a guy or two on a restart, threw 1 or 2 above the hole, and I just didn't see it happening. And Ward just checked up and turned right to miss what was going on, and I was beside him, and I ramped him with the whole left side of the car. I don't know how we didn't keep it out of the fence, because it was lucky to just keep it out of the fence. And what it did is it bent the right axle up like 45 degrees, and so the nose was dragging, and it broke the right rear hub too, and so I had no brakes except for the fronts. And we tried to give it a go, because I didn't crash and didn't have to stop, and but we were fortunate not to tear any stuff up, and there was no reason. You go in there, you fix it, and you're running 20th. You don't pay good enough to run 20th, so it wasn't worth staying out there.
So from that point on, were you considering at least trying to keep the car going?
Yeah, we did. We were actually going to run, and Fuller pulled up next to me under the yellow and on the left side and gave me the, I don't know if it's good enough to go or not signal, and then he pulled up on the right side, and I looked over and immediately was pointing to the pits, but we were going white. So we were kind of, what we can do, pull in and lose the lap, so we figured, well, we'll ride it out to the next caution. I went into turn 1, lost the brakes immediately into turn 1, and told Vinny I just wheeled high so we didn't wreck it, and I said, hey, it's bottoming out so bad we tore our brake line off or something, and we got lucky pulling in when we did, because the right rear hub was broken, ready to fall off too, off the whole deal. And the last thing I want to do is pile one of these things up this late in the year, especially after what we had happen to him. It was a bad day, but it was a successful day, because I think we were a top 3 car. And could we beat Billy? Probably not. Billy knows what to do here. He had the benefit of starting up front. We didn't. We had to race our way up front, and I think we did. We had a great pit stop, and it is what it is.
So you thought you were staying on your strategy, everything was still kind of going the way you wanted to?
Well, the pit stop, I think we were like 12th or 13th before the pit from 20th, which I think here's like passing 40 cars anywhere else, so I thought that was pretty good, and Vinny's guys did a phenomenal job on the pit stop. The 151 car cut over my nose when we got together coming out of the pits, and if that didn't happen, who knows where it would have ended up. I mean, we almost got by Fuller too after that, and I figured after the pit shook out, we were 6th. After everybody that had pitted shook out, that's pretty good when you come in 13th, 14th, and come out in 6th. And you watch how the race ended. And basically, Fuller was going to run second, runs out of gas, and we were ahead of him already on the racetrack racing. So it's just this place is what it is, and fortunately, I don't know what I got to do to try to actually finish a race here. Would be a step in the right direction, but I ain't gonna sit here and say it's frustrating. But I also know that to drive his car has been a privilege and an honor the last 2 days. So I'm excited.
Now, with the track conditions, obviously they were better than Thursday.
Yep.
Were they decent, or were they good? I mean, is there still room of improvement on the track?
No, it's tough. I mean, what are you gonna do to improve it? It's a center track. It's a mile track that you can't pass on. Can't do nothing. But I'll tell you, hot laps was actually the best it was. It rubbered in fairly fast, and it had a little bit of brown on the outside, and even though that hole was terrible down there, it actually made for passing, because you couldn't block a guy. Like down the back stretch, there's no holes. You can run low, you can run high, wherever they are. They tell you on the radio, you just go where they're at. Well, down the front stretch, there's a 20-foot wide hole by 20 foot both ways, and it's probably 1.5 feet deep. You rip your nose off, so you either got to go below it or above it. So you'd come off a 4 and get a run on a guy, and he couldn't do nothing. He could either go low to block you, or if he did, he could never enter hard enough, and you could roll him on the top. And if he went to the top, it made for better racing, but it also is made for the reasons why we had big wrecks that we've had here in this deal. So, I mean, it's a catch-22. What do you do?
Now, this is probably the same type of question everybody will probably ask you. You see it on many different stations. Different car today, T.O. versus a Bicknell tomorrow. Obviously, more horsepower tomorrow than today. Can you take a lot of things from today, even though you didn't run the full 150 miles? Can you take something to tomorrow's race? Oh yeah, we can take knowing what the track is down there, for one, where the bad spot is in the racetrack. We need to make decisions on what we're going to do, and tire wear. You can take tire wear from here. You can take a lot of little things and figure it out. I mean, we get a little bit of practice in the morning. That's going to be a good thing. We need it with this car because of the problems we had with it, but
we get it the way I think we should, we'll be there. If we can ever get to the last 40 laps or 30 laps of any of these races here, we'll be in the front. Will we be winning? I don't know. I don't think Billy Decker knows if he was going to win today the way it shook out. He just knows that he put himself in a position to succeed, and it all went its way. Same thing with Matt. Matt put himself in a position to succeed, and it went his way. So it didn't go his way. So I mean, you can see both sides of it. So we go out there and we can only do what we can do, run our best, and I think we got a shot at it. I mean, that's why I'm here, and no matter where we're starting, we're going to cycle to the front in this big block race sooner or later. It's just a matter of what we do with it when we get there.
Now, when we talked to you on Thursday, you had talked about the fact that you weren't sure, or excuse me, on Friday, you weren't sure if you were going to have, you know, a chance to run the heat races and improve your position starting wise, or if you were going to be on your 28 starting, you know, based off of your time trial. Now that you see that you're going to start 28, have you kind of, you know, without giving any secrets, have you guys kind of thought about your strategy and what you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, our strategy's not that hard to figure out. I mean, we got to gain spots as much as we can. We're going to have to race a lot harder earlier than we want to, but it's not that bad of a thing. I really think that being a 2 pit stop race is a lot easier to get where you want to be.
Especially with that new pit rule and all that.
Well, just even being 2 pit stops is easier. It's just hard to give yourself one chance to pass cars in bunches in the pits. And everybody knows that in a small race after lap 30, that's it. Whoever can go after 30 is going the whole way. And you've seen a bunch of us would come down, and that's what happened. And we beat a few of them out in the big block race. There's going to be these guys coming at 60 or 70 with tires. There's going to be guys coming at 30 or 40 for fuel. And then we're going to cycle around. And after 100, first pit stop after 100 is going to be what wins the race. And I've been here a lot of times, and the only way that won't be the guy that wins the race is if he has a mechanical failure or runs out of fuel or whatever. So we got to figure out what we got to do to gain all our positions before our last pit stop and beat everybody out of pits, and that's what we're going to do.